Good evening. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome, Meredith.
Here.
This is the regular meeting of Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, held in Council Chambers, 216 Main Street West, Swan River, Manitoba, this 12th day of April 2022 at 7 p.m. Present, myself, Deputy Reeve Blosha, Councillors Foster, Kushniryk, Pierrepont, Wills, and Gade, our CAO, James Webb, and doing the podcast, Jeremy Bergen. First resolution, be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council held this 12th day of April 2022 shall be adopted as presented. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, second by Councillor Foster. Any additions suggested?
I was hoping we could add a discussion item about Swan Valley Rise. Perhaps also a discussion item for water update. If that would be acceptable to everybody.
What heading do you want that under?
I think if we throw it under discussion, neither one of them has a resolution, so it's just more information.
Okay.
And
Anyone?
I had some information from that cipher for the road.
Oh, for the...
Yeah, and it would be just under discussion too.
Sure. That, I think all three of those things could have come in under that anyway, so.
Okay.
No one have an issue with that?
No.
Okay, we'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held on March 22nd, 2022 be adopted as presented. Do we have a mover for those? Moved by Councillor Pierrepont, seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Any errors or omissions? You all had a chance to peruse them?
It's tough. I have to admit I checked at 6:30 to try and get in and see this ahead of time, and it just couldn't be done yet. The agenda wasn't ready, though the information was ready. It makes it really tough because I kind of pride myself in being prepared for meetings and knowing the items that are coming up for discussion so I can have some preparation time. Which I think is why our procedural bylaw asks that we have the agenda, at least the initial agenda, late in the day on Friday, so we all have the weekend to kind of go over it and know what's coming up. I know everybody would like to be very prepared for a meeting. And one of the things is reading through the minutes and making sure they're correct. And unfortunately, I certainly have only had this for just a few moments' time, so
I'll give you a couple of minutes.
yeah. I don't see anything.
Okay.
It's pretty
Anyone else have any questions or comments? Not, call the question, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, next resolution. Be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 3 of the Municipal Act, council shall meet as a committee of the whole to close the meeting and continue discussions in camera regarding personnel matters. Mover for that resolution, moved by Councillor Foster, second by Councillor Blosha. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. One in starts.
We get started. 7:30 now.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. First resolution, whereas the provincially approved investigator has completed a review of complaint number 8, based on the facts provided, finds the identified behavior and actions of the respondent contravenes the code of conduct for council members, bylaw number 0083-20, sections 6.2 and 7.7, and council concurs with the decision. Therefore be it resolved that council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West impose a suspension against Councillor Bill Gade for 90 days, and that Bill Gade's compensation be suspended for the same 90 days. These suspensions are set to commence immediately and will be served in succession with other suspensions. Do we have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Pierrepont, seconded by Councillor Blosha. We'll open the floor.
Okay. So I'd like to request a recorded vote on this particular resolution. I do have some comments. I want to start by reading the offending material that I was found guilty from posting on Facebook. So I'll read the exact post, all 11 words of it. The post says, "The highest result showing is 0.383. The safe limit is 0.120. That is the 11 words for which the code of conduct complaint was based upon, and the 11 words for which the investigator has suggested I breached the code of conduct. I strongly disagree that those 11 words represent a breach of the code of conduct. There is nothing in those 11 words that demeans anybody. It is a simple, absolute, clear statement of fact. Those 11 words are true. It makes no comment, it gives no opinion. It's 11 words. Unlike those 11 words that give no comment and no opinion, tonight we've heard many already. We are looking at a resolution to suspend you for 90 days. However, this council didn't even discuss the period of suspension amongst the various options that are given. Anything from as simple as a reprimand to writing a letter of apology to taking retraining to suspension for a period of time lesser than 90 days. Council made no attempt to consider what the correct punishment would be. Not one person at this table during our discussion suggested the punishment should be 90 days, and yet it's here. The person who wrote this complaint said tonight that it was an independent process. The reality is that's not true. This wasn't an independent process. The person who wrote the complaint lied about having written it, and then eventually admitted they had written it. The person who wrote the complaint admitted tonight they breached the process of confidentiality. They blamed me for that breach, saying that because I've been accused of breaching confidentiality, it should be okay that they can breach confidentiality. We heard tonight of emails that were accidentally sent to people that contained information which breached the process and confidentiality of this entire complaint process. The person who submitted this complaint has told us tonight and times before that they no longer wish this complaint to go forward. They don't feel it's justified. They don't feel this complaint should be found guilty and punished for it. The 2 staff members who are mentioned in the complaint have also both indicated they do not want the complaint to go forward, that they have no interest in proceeding with this. All 3 of those people would prefer that council vote this down tonight. The report we were presented tonight leaves out material facts, several important material facts. It leaves out the reality that the person who submitted the complaint and the 2 staff members that were referenced in the original complaint all wanted withdrawn or dismissed. It makes no attempt to explain why it shouldn't be withdrawn or dismissed. The complaint references things, or the findings, I should say, references things that were never in the original complaint. It references additional information that was not part of the complaint, and I'm being punished tonight for it, even though it was never there. The report adds facts that weren't in evidence and assumes them to be true, when in reality we've seen no evidence as a council or the investigator that any of that's true. To punish me tonight for this complaint would be a miscarriage of justice. It would be a travesty. I feel that tonight the person who wrote the complaint should not be voting on this. The rules are clear that the person that writes the complaint shouldn't. However, in this fact, the case, the person who wrote it isn't the person who signed the bottom. So while certainly I will abstain and the person who submitted it will abstain, I think the person who wrote it should also abstain tonight. To not abstain in this particular matter would be a breach not only of the Code of Conduct process, but would also represent a breach of the Conflict of Interest Act, because of who that person is and what they're involved in tonight. Finally, I point out that each of you has the power. Each member of council has the power. The rules require 5 votes in favor of these sanctions. 2 people can't vote because it's me and the person who's signed the complaint and submitted it. All 5 of you must vote in favor for this to go ahead. Each and every one of you has the power to set this right. Each of you has the power to say that these 11 words aren't a breach of the Code of Conduct, that I didn't do anything wrong. Each of you has the power to say that when the person who submitted the complaint wants it withdrawn, when the staff members want it withdrawn, that the best outcome here is to withdraw it. The 11 words, the highest result showing is 0.383. The safe limit is 0.120. If any of you believe in your heart that that isn't a breach of the Code of Conduct, or that something has gone materially wrong in this process, and this is more about bullying me than it is about solving a complaint, I urge you to vote against this tonight, because any one of your votes
Time
tonight
is up, Councillor Gade.
is enough to stop this miscarriage of justice. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
I just want to agree, this has turned into a complete mess. I don't believe for 1 second that this should go any further. That's all.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Not, call the vote. A recorded vote has been requested. Get that down there. Councillor Pierrepont,
Yes.
Councillor Wills,
Abstain.
Councillor Reeve,
I abstain.
Councillor Foster, Councillor Kushniryk,
Yes.
Councillor Blosha,
Yes.
and mine is yes as well. I declare the resolution carried, 5-0, 2 abstentions.
I wonder if council has any interest in hearing the Swan Valley Rise thing before I leave, because it's information that is somewhat time limited.
Can you leave a written copy? You've got it written out, have you?
I have it written out, but it would really need my presentation for you to understand what it says.
We've got a very long agenda, so if we have time at the end, perhaps Councillor Wills can fill in for you.
Unfortunately, Councillor Wills doesn't have the information. I'm the only one that has it tonight. So would council like to have the information about Swan Valley Rise?
I think once a councillor is suspended, they can no longer participate in the meetings.
I guess
You're
that's
not the chair, Mr.
I'm here to coach, I guess.
Oh, have you read the act yet? Because it would be good if
Councillor
you read
Gade.
the act.
I
If you're
think
going
we
to
should take a
coach.
recess.
Let's
Let's
cut
take a
this
recess.
short right now.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order.
Hoping to offer again to share the incredibly important information about Swan Valley Rise that I have to share tonight. So I don't have an appetite for me to share that, so council's aware of the information that needs to be at this meeting, so you have time to deal with it.
I would suggest that you write out a report before the meeting ends, if you can. Submit it, and we'll have council consider the
How long
information that
is
you
it?
have.
Probably less than 5 minutes.
We'll have to do it outside this meeting.
I'll call a recess in and have him
Yeah,
give the
I
report.
would like to hear what it is.
Okay,
We're going into recess.
Okay.
So do we let him hear it, or do we throw him out so he doesn't hear it?
We've got people on the phone.
it's not in camera, it's just,
Maybe we should keep his recorder going then, so
We can't record, we can't have you participate in the meeting once you're suspended.
Well, it's kind of your choice, not mine. You could pass a resolution allowing me 5 minutes of participation, so I could do it.
Time to speak.
a minute's already gone, let's get at her.
So is Jeremy allowed to know or not? Because he would probably like it recorded, so he doesn't have to try and keep notes of it.
You would like him to record it?
Well, he's going to have to either, he
This
says,
is-
make
this is-
hand notes
this
on
is
it, try and get
unofficial?
accurate.
Nothing to do with council.
Actually, it does have stuff to do with council, it's to do with RISE.
Yeah,
So,
it's really to do with council.
If you want him to record it, I don't have an issue with him recording it. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
record it.
I think it's fair to Jeremy that's recorded, so he doesn't have to try and keep notes of what it is. Because it's not in camera, it's an open thing that council's going to have to discuss.
That's
at some
fine,
point.
let's
Okay.
just get on with it.
Mr. Reeve, there's one right there. So at the last G4 meeting, the group in attendance at G4 appointed a committee of 3 people, Stephen Donnelly, Jason Delorier, and myself. The intention was to come up with one more trial of Swan Valley Rise so that it wouldn't be disbanded, which is the current process right now is for disbanding. So there's a little history there. The group was to come up with a document like this to provide some terms of reference for the attempt. So these are the terms of reference. It provides that each council will provide the names of 4 individuals. They can be really anybody in the community. There's no requirements of who they are. The discussion at G4 was they would not be members of the council, it would be independent people. Council would submit those 4 names to the group of 3. At the May 2nd G4 meeting, the list from all of the councils will appear, along with about a 1-paragraph biography of each person, just saying who they are, what they do, in case nobody knows who they are.
That wasn't agreed upon.
Well, it was 3 people were to come up with the process.
3 were to come up with the process.
So this is the
But they
process
were
we
not
came up
supposed to
with.
have anything or contact with any of these people.
That was never discussed. It
Yes,
was
it
that we were
was.
supposed to come up with a process and that we would have a biography of the people.
No.
We'd have to check the recording of that meeting. In any case, the idea is that the full list will be presented to each of the area councils before the May 2nd meeting, so council has time to independently review it as well. Then at the May 2nd meeting, those in attendance will select 8 individuals from all of those entries. It's intended that each individual have already confirmed their willingness to participate, which is also part of they have to be talked to make sure they don't let their name stand. Because there's no point selecting people who then say, I don't want to be part of
Yeah,
this.
well, that was supposed to be on council.
That's, Mr. Pierrepont, maybe you should just let me talk and then you wouldn't be continually saying things that disagree. So the intention is to have those 8 people not to perform economic development at all, instead to make a plan for the future of economic development and to answer some really important questions. So they'll be provided the historical information on RISE, the budgets, the projects that have been undertaken, basically what's gone on in the past. They'll spend some time reviewing that. Then they will determine if a plan for RISE and economic development can be made with a similar budget commitment to what councils have looked at before. They would develop a plan for the economic development, but they wouldn't do it. They would simply come up with, here's how we think this could work well for the valley. And they would present that plan to all area councils, either at a G4 meeting or individually at the councils, whatever happens after the fall election. So essentially the report is due in November. The board is encouraged to include the following: how or if there should be an economic development officer, how or if RISE should pursue medical recruitment, possibly identify a few projects but not take action on them, determine how or if tourism should be part of the plan, look at ways to measure success of the plan if it is implemented by councils, ways to mitigate risk of the plan if it's implemented, and options for selecting board members to ensure organizational continuity, which the suggestion was made from one council that discussed this already, that the whole board shouldn't change over at the same time in the future. It should be staggered, so maybe 4 members change every 2 years or something, so there's more of a thing. The group would be authorized to spend a maximum of $10,000. Again, nothing on actual economic development, in the meantime, honorariums and some supplies. I don't think they would approach $10,000, but I suppose that would be up to them if they found a way they need to spend that. I suspect they would spend far less. So what is critical is that this council come up with the names of 4 individuals to submit to that group of 3 so they can be included on that master list. And then that will be circulated to all of the councils in advance of the May 2nd meeting. So ideally, if those names were selected in the next week or so, that list would come back here at your next council meeting in 2 weeks' time. So you have some time to review it. And then on May 2nd at the G4 meeting, there'll be selections made. Does anyone have any questions on any of that?
Well, it's a total different recollection because I spoke towards that at that meeting. That I agree that council should not have anything to do with this selection. Council needs to select their 4 people, make sure they are willing to go to the RISE board, and then at that meeting, we will pick from those people. That the committee is to have no talking or dealing with any of these people. It goes to the G4 makes the decision.
I think the only point we're in disagreement on is how the list has a little biography of each person, but if it would make you feel better, certainly when the council submits their 4 names, if we've talked to those 4 people already, and submit that paragraph with each name, so it's already done, that can be included directly into the list and no one would have a need to speak to them. I think that would
That I will
accomplish
agree,
what
yeah.
you're after. Anybody else have questions before I go? I presume the will of the room is that I don't remain for the meeting because it doesn't seem very welcoming around here tonight. There's nothing else. Have a great evening.
This is what they're going to present to all councils then?
Yes, and the people that are asked are going to see that ahead of time. So you're welcome to share that document with those 4 people, or if it's 10 people and you have to whittle it down to 4, there's no reason they can't see that to know what they're getting themselves into.
Okay.
Because it kind of gives them the idea that this is what's expected of you.
Okay.
I'd like to add something before you leave. I don't feel that this is right, what we did here tonight. I think it was very unfair, and I think it was all done again in spite, and with all the problems we have going on with this municipality, going after him is absolutely minute, in my opinion. I too am leaving the meeting tonight because I feel that there's nothing more I can do here tonight, and I think it's in my best interest to just leave. So,
Good.
I've got roads to check.
Thank you. Have a good
I'm
evening.
very disappointed.
The feeling's kind of mutual, so.
Before you resume here, Reeve, is it fair to, well, is it, for the remainder of council, is it fair to include this recess on the official recording with the context that this is still in recess?
That this was dealt with in recess?
Yes, they will be included.
It better be made clear that it,
Included in the recording.
And it was
This-
during
This
the
was in
recess.
recess.
yes. Make that abundantly clear. Because-
It'll be unedited, so.
Yeah, he was suspended.
Mhm.
That's the end of, and it was only by the good graces of council members that they allowed him to speak.
Because I wanted the correct context of what they're planning to.
And I think if we go back to the original post, it's more than 11 words.
Oh, it is. I know it
It's
is.
2 pages of absolute, once again, misinformation. And very, very derogatory towards our employees, and that's where it began, so just wanted to make that note.
Okay,
Everybody
we
knows
will
that here, so.
call the meeting back to order and go to number 5 on our agenda. No delegations,
No delegations.
no petitions.
Nope.
Okay, number 7, 7.1, minor subdivision. The resolution reads, whereas the owners of part of Southwest 1/4 Section 123528 WPM have made an application to subdivide their property, and whereas the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West has reviewed said application along with the conditional approval letter received from Community and Regional Planning dated March 21st, 2022, and have no objections to the aforementioned subdivision. Therefore be it resolved, we do hereby approve the minor subdivision of the aforementioned property, provided all conditions and requirements set out in said letter from the Province of Manitoba Community and Regional Planning Branch are met. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any discussion? Not all in favor? That is carried. Do we have one for 7.2 as well?
Yeah. It's a different land description.
okay.
Yeah.
But it's not this is a resolution also.
It is, I guess, yeah, I have to mark
just
it that way.
Take,
Yes,
you know.
yeah, got it.
Okay, next resolution, whereas the owners of part of Southeast 1/4 Section 7, 3827 WPM have made an application to subdivide their property, and whereas the Council for the Municipality of Swan Valley West has reviewed said application, along with the conditional approval letter received from the Community and Regional Planning dated April 4th, 2022, and have no objections to the aforementioned subdivision. Therefore be it resolved, we do hereby approve the minor subdivision of the aforementioned property, provided all conditions and requirements set out in said letter from the Province of Manitoba Community and Regional Planning Branch are met. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, whereas a request has been submitted to council for the purchase of the Lavender Good Neighbor Center. Therefore, council will consider selling the property according to the conditions and process set out in the municipal bylaws. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Foster. Discussion.
Never.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree to that one either.
There's an attachment there, you can see,
That's
but
their
that's what
fault.
we just have to go through that, just so it's on the record.
Yeah,
They use that all the time.
Yes.
even in the summer, they have
Oh,
their
yeah.
sales, and I would just hate to see that be something other
It's
than
used for
what it was
wakes and
purposed.
funerals and all kinds of stuff.
Get-togethers and,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, anyone speaking for it? Not, we'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Defeated, 5-0. Seven point three.
That was.
That was 7.3.
Pardon?
That was 7.3. Now you're on 7.4.
So we are. My mistake.
That's okay.
7.4. Resolved that the Council of Swan Valley West does hereby accept the Planning District's 2022 budget as submitted and approves the payment for Swan Valley West's membership. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Blosha. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Seven point five. Be it resolved that the following members of council will attend the FCM Conference in Regina, June 2nd to 5th, inclusive, 2022. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. I had requested that James put this on the agenda for this evening. We've been a member of the FCM for as long as I can remember, and have never had the opportunity when the conference is this close to the area to attend it. So I have put my name forward. If there's anyone else that thinks they would like to,
Is there a deadline?
I'm not sure what the deadline is.
It says, just let me check.
It would be a few weeks away, I'm sure, because this is in June.
We can put your name down, and
Yeah.
then we can take it off easier.
No, okay.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to join.
This is very much similar to AMM.
No, they have different, different topics. It's for the entire country of Canada. So there will possibly be some discussion surrounding topics that we are familiar with and could contribute to, but it is for the country. But typically, they're held in Halifax or in Toronto or Vancouver or Victoria or whatever. This one settles in Regina.
The early bird rate is on till April 22nd.
Housing and innovations, rural growth, climate extremes,
Until April 22nd.
cyberbullying.
That gives you 10 days.
It says right there.
Yeah.
That gives you 10 days
Okay.
to think about it.
Okay.
I'll put your name down? Sure. Okay.
Anyone else?
Put me down, I'll think about it.
Yeah, put me down, I might think about that, in June I might be able to.
Okay, so those 4 names are down. You are not interested?
With school, we have no subs.
Okay, any other discussion? Not, we'll call the question, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, next resolution, be it resolved that bylaw number 0093-22, being a bylaw of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, for the purpose of authorizing the use of municipal resources in an election or a by-election, shall be introduced and read a first time this 12th day of April 2022. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any discussion? This is required to be done by the Elections Act, I guess it would be.
Just saying what you can use and what you can't use of the resources of the municipality and how you can title yourself as, and use of even emails, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the general gist of it, but take time to read it over, for sure. There's lots of information there.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Not, all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that bylaw number 0093-22, being a bylaw of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, for the purpose of authorizing the use of municipal resources in an election or a by-election, shall be introduced and read a second time this 12th day of April 2022. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Pierrepont, seconded by Councillor Blosha. Thought of any other question or comment? Not, all in favor? That is carried.
I would like to table this designated officer until later in the meeting. We just gotta read it over a little bit and I just want to spend some more time with it, so if we can table it till later, it'd be good.
7.8,
7.8 and 7.9.
okay. 7:10. Campaign financing. Resolution reads, be it resolved that bylaw number 0095-22, being a bylaw of the Municipality of Swan Valley West, for the purpose of prescribing certain matters concerning campaign expenses and contributions in connection with municipal elections, shall be introduced and read a first time this 12th day of April, 2022. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. Any questions on this one? Not all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that bylaw number 00, what's happening here? Unable to read it when it's there we go. Sorry about that. Computer glitch. Be it resolved that bylaw number 0095-22, being a bylaw of the Municipality of Swan Valley West for the purpose of prescribing certain matters concerning campaign expenses and contributions in connection with municipal elections, shall be introduced and read a second time this 12th day of April, 2022. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any comments or questions? If not, all in favor? That is carried. Next resolution, be it resolved that the Council of Swan Valley West approve the following schedule of remuneration for the 2022 election. Election officials, $25 per hour. Voting officials, $20 per hour. Per diem, as per general policy schedule, excluding lunch.
Example.
Example, lunch, 15, supper, 25, and per kilometer as per council rate, 50 cents per kilometer. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any discussion? Not all in favor? That is carried. Moving into number 8.1. Be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. General checks number 17680 to 17724 in the amount of $113,724.44. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Pierrepont, seconded by Councillor Foster. Any questions on that checklist?
Just give us a minute, Bill. if you
Yeah.
don't mind.
Okay, we'll give you a minute to lose them.
Lots of time.
17686. Obviously, that's more than
Just
a
got
week or two, right?
686.
Put my glasses on, make sure I got the right one.
Yeah, he's looking at it because it's.
That is for the month of March.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
No, I just, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was
Verify
actually,
that.
I was looking at that one too and I wondered.
So we're last, yeah.
And I had one, 17695.
Yeah.
I wonder why it's in there, or just
Uh,
because.
He come in to do some work.
Yes, we had some welding.
Oh, so it's like a
machines.
contract.
Really good.
Okay, no, that's just, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll be through it pretty quick here.
Yeah, oh no, I appreciate the question.
17713.
That is for a filing cabinet. Took us a year to approve that one because I didn't really So I hesitated until we really needed it, so.
17720.
That was just.
1770.
20. Fifth from the bottom.
Repairs on,
Which grader's unit 52?
Unit 52 is Carmen, is the 140.
Okay.
Yes, and it had a steering problem. It was about $2,900, and it also had a cab fan motor that was about $500.
So that wouldn't be on board, do you?
No,
No.
it wasn't.
Okay.
okay, well, that's,
Powertrain.
And, one last one.
Yep, no problem.
17724.
That's for repair work boots.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you.
Hopefully they stay longer than a week. Okay, if there are no further questions, call the question, all in favor? That is carried. 8.2, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. Payroll payments, checks number 4060 to 4069 in the amount of $17,081.00. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Kushniryk. Any questions on those? Not, all in favor? That is carried.
Oh, shoot, I have I have the details ready this time, but I just never hooked them up. I'll put the details on the indemnities there.
I saw them.
Is it there?
Yeah.
The payroll check indemnity, or?
I see the
details?
list, but not the actual individual.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No,
Well, that's good. While you're doing that, I'll take a quick 2 seconds.
Okay, yeah, I did scan them and I just never attached them, so I'm one step closer this time.
They're not here, but thanks for putting the overtime on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Got it on? Oh, okay.
We have a lot of information open here. Gotta get,
Manipulate the screen.
yeah, it's funny when you have 2 screens and you go down to 1. All right, should be there now. Oh, not quite yet. All right, indemnity should be there.
Yeah, they don't, getting so big, you're making a noise now when you drop them.
Okay, 8.3, resolution reads, be it resolved that Council of the Municipality of Swan Valley West hereby approves the following payments. Indemnities for March, checks number 4070 to 4078 in the amount of $8,331.50. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Foster, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. Any questions on those?
One's missing. One's missing, not submitted,
Nothing was submitted.
okay?
Nothing further? Call the question, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, we'll go into number 9, discussion, 9.1, rise. We've received a report during a break.
Recess.
I don't know what 9.2 had to deal with. What topic outside of being water?
Well, other than James can attest to, or I can, I was talking to Mr. Wykew on the water in Benito. The packets for the testing, as council had decided to get, are on order, and so are the water bottles for testing small samples. They are on back order, I believe, but they should be here within the next 3 weeks.
Okay.
So we can start getting more samples in Benito.
Okay, and then Councillor Kushniryk had requested road coating.
Okay, so to deal with that road stabilizer that we discussed, I did hear back from them. I do have some documents that need to be filled out. I don't know if you just want me to forward them to James, or if you want me to take this on with maybe another councillor, Pierrepont, it's in his ward anyways, to fill in some of the blanks. You know, they need some road information. You know, some of the equipment that we have that's available to them, and it's all kind of part to do with preparing a plan, I suppose. And then once we have that submitted, then they're going to need soil samples, I guess, of the road to see what kind of material is available there, and if we have to make any improvements, adding clay or something to that effect. But they will provide a lot of information for us through this process. So it's not something that's going to happen like
Right away.
no. But
So,
I think we were in agreement that section between the highway and Pioneer would be
A good
test
test.
site. Okay, because
Yes.
yeah, the end result of this stuff, you're going to have something that's almost like concrete, you know, that's going to last for multiple years and handle that traffic load.
and they'll come up and do it for
They-
that stretch.
They said they would provide like an on-site like foreman.
Okay.
He would more or less oversee the job and teach us how to do this.
Incorporate it.
Do this ourselves. So it's not something that we would need him to come up every time we wanted to do this. We could learn it and do it ourselves in the future just by purchasing the product. So
Well, that's good, eh? Yeah.
yeah. So there's that major project, and of course they have a dust blocker, which is another form of like calcium or whatever. But I thought this would be a good one to start with. So I don't know if there's any interest.
We didn't actually agree on an amount or agree to purchase any of the products, so that would be the first step, I would think.
Yeah.
We
So there's
want
been
to
no
investigate
agreement.
it further.
There's been no agreements like that. And I think his maybe initial suggestion was we'd be looking at maybe about $10,000 to prepare that road or that section. But you don't have to. There's so many other advantages that would.
Oh, it would be,
Yeah.
So is that for that stretch or is it per mile?
No. And maybe that's where this questionnaire or this evaluation would provide more details to that.
That's not us committing then? to-
That's not us committing. No. This is just providing some information so they have an idea of what kind of job they're looking at.
Yeah, it sounds like they won't give you a price until you give them soil and everything else. So-
Yeah.
So they know the chemical mixture they have to put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume that they will also be in Brandon. next
Yes,
week.
definitely. I can forward some information on to you, and you can look for them at at the site there, because they, in Winnipeg, they did have a sample of their material. They had to use a diamond saw to cut it out of the road down there by Brandon. They've got a test site, and gosh, it's just a solid brick.
Yeah,
Well, maybe it would be good to have that information put together to have for them at Brandon. You might be able to talk directly with them about that, you know,
Well,
not yourself, but you
yeah,
know,
exactly.
the representatives that are going.
You know how the sample is taken, is it probed so deep or?
You know, I'm not too sure how they're supposed to do it. Like if you're using a probe, or if you're just digging with a shovel or a hole,
yeah.
or what. But because they want to know the base material underneath. I think what the substructure of the road is, as well as the surface material.
That's a good substructure there. It's not soft. There's no.
I think a lot of gravel's been laid down there over the years.
Yeah.
Well, and calcium and everything else
Yeah.
packed, and
Then they want to know how many vehicles are using that road per hour,
Lots.
per day, per 12-hour period. So
well, there could be 50 or 100 per day.
So I don't know if.
Spring and fall will be.
Employees would be 12 already.
Yeah.
100 there, I bet you. Yeah, good day.
Well, in the spring and fall there'll be 200,
Yeah.
and they're all big trucks.
So yeah, no, there's a lot of neat information they want to acquire about it. So
That's definitely the place to try it there.
How many yards would it be beyond the driveway to the east to the tracks?
I don't know where the new driveway actually goes in now, because the
Oh,
over
they
the
changed
track.
the driveway?
the
Well,
terminal.
the new terminal's over the tracks.
Over the tracks.
Yeah.
I believe so.
But it's probably 1/8 of a mile.
At least,
Yeah,
maybe
at
a
least.
quarter.
Quarter of a mile, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, from the highway to the
Oh,
tracks.
yes, but past the tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the tracks to
If you get to the new
Yes.
terminal one, it would be a quarter for sure.
It would be interesting if they've got the new driveway in then, to take a measurement from the highway to say 50 yards past the driveway going east, so that it isn't right at the driveway where this
I
starts.
can do that, yeah.
And then a guy would have a better idea when we're
Just
talking to them how.
Cheat,
long
I'll
the
put
stretch.
my,
We
drive
have-
the stake and use my rangefinder, and I can tell you from the highway to the stake how many yards it is.
Yeah.
If you really want that wheel, we have to.
No, I'll use my rangefinder.
No,
You're a golfer, huh?
So I don't know, if you guys want, I can forward this information on to you, and you can.
And have a look at it.
It would be really interesting to see how they would like the sample taken to, because we could actually deliver a sample to them.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do some reading, and if nothing else, we can talk to them there and know exactly what to get to them.
Yeah,
So that we're not doing it over and over again, we'll know exactly.
no, but
Yeah, I know.
contacting them now so that we can save the,
We can take it down there, you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Okay. I will.
A guy could take 2 or 3 samples or 4 samples.
We should have had
or
that
whatever.
guy that was in town on the highways project, coring. He was coring down 3 feet.
What was it?
At the junction.
Be good black topsoil down there.
Well, and that might be what they want, like you might have to drill down 4 feet to get
I would think it would
what
be
they want.
the first
They're gonna
two.
want a sub, well, they're gonna want a sub though.
Foot to 1.5 is my bet that they wouldn't be concerned with anything beyond that. But who knows?
So,
Okay,
Yeah,
so see how
I'll-
far you can get along on it before we go?
yeah, I'll get in touch with him and see if we can't.
Determine how
Thanks.
they want
Yeah.
the
I
samples.
think that's a real good project.
I think in the end it'll benefit big time.
Oh,
Those high
People
traffic
first and all
areas.
that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly who it is.
Okay, we'll move on. We still have a long way to go. Health Foundation 2021 financials.
It's just for
Now, this
information.
is not doctor recruitment.
Yes.
Oh, it
this
is?
Yes, this is
Okay.
doctor recruitment only. And if you'll notice, our municipality's contribution is not listed, but it was put in, but it was in the 2022 January, deposited January 2022.
Timing, yeah.
So it is in there.
So we contributed this year yet. Or
21. You
21.
contributed 21, yeah. In
And
January
now
22.
they're contemplating not for 2022, or?
No, they said that at the G4, that.
They
that-
want it to go the same.
That it was an agreement they had. So that's not for the foundation itself to decide, that was for the municipalities.
And they agreed to contribute
At the
again.
G4, supposedly they agreed
There
that it
was
would
only
stay
two
the
of
same
us.
for 2022.
Me and Mr. Gade. And
And one wasn't approved.
And hoping that maybe the CT scanner will come out of some of this.
yeah, and they were
So
gonna,
that
they were
is a-
gonna look at
that is a whole-
branching out a
yeah.
little bit too into nurse recruitment and.
Well, their
They're doing that
nurse
now?
recruitment is,
Okay.
yeah, is in, we, well, you noticed that there was some money used in the 21 calendar year that was physio. So they are branching out. But they're also branching out with the help of the doctors saying what they need too.
Now, both my nieces graduated nursing and are both working here now, so, the last 2 years.
Yeah,
Okay,
and that is just for information.
10.2, accessibility, Plan 1, Plan 2.
Yeah, one's a guideline and one's an example. It's more for your information, just to look at long-term. We'll be working on that type of information for ourselves here at the office and different facilities.
So does that apply to shops and everything as well?
More to recreational and offices.
Okay.
And then this Manitoba Good Roads, there is a banquet on the 19th in conjunction with the annual meeting in Brandon.
What time on the 19th do you expect to arrive? Councillor Pierrepont?
What time does it start in the morning?
It doesn't. That's Mayor's and
Lunchtime?
Reeves.
Tuesday? Oh, yeah, it'll be,
Good Roads is usually that same night as the,
It's the Mayor's.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
It's-
is here, yeah.
It's
So if you're gonna be there by 6 o'clock, then you could get dinner tickets for yourself or whatever as well.
I'll see. I can't answer that till after the snow.
Okay, tickets deadline is the 15th, which is Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Then probably not, because if it snows and I lose 2 days of work, I've got 2 days of
is
work to
Good
make
Friday,
up before I
so
come.
Probably nobody in the office
So
there.
I
Good
won't be
Friday.
leaving.
No,
We'll be
Tuesday.
Monday.
sending that in on Thursday, but we can put your name down.
You could put it down and I'll know, like if it snows and I don't get my delivery in the next 2 days, that work is gonna get done Monday, Tuesday. So I won't be leaving till like 4 o'clock Tuesday.
So we can turn that into a resolution then. I've just added that, be resolved that the following councillors will attend Manitoba Good Roads. Oh, just a second, I'll update it, yeah, there you go. You should be able to read it now.
So was Matt going down to it, or was he?
No.
Don't know.
That's good, I know Carrie takes my phone
You
calls.
better give us
whenever I
off this
have to take
paper.
forward and Carrie.
I don't mind.
Okay, next resolution, be it resolved that the following members of council will attend the Manitoba Good Roads banquet. Myself and Councillor Pierrepont. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Blosha. All in favor? That is carried.
I'm in conflict about it.
I seen that.
Okay, anything under unfinished business?
I don't have any.
Okay, it is then time for committee reports.
Now I gotta think.
Councillor Pierrepont.
I knew it.
I knew you weren't ready, so.
I have you down for special meetings and transportation meetings. I think you,
That's-
March 31st and,
Yeah. That's it, yeah. As I
Transportation.
said, no, I have the 2 meetings, and if you wanna count the last 20 hours of roads and phone calls with ratepayers, then that's what my last week has been.
Lots of communication.
Lots. Well, I've got probably 8 washouts and water over the road in about 30 places.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kushniryk.
I was at the library. Library meeting. We're still working on this year's budget. There was nothing earth-shattering to report from the librarian reports. So I suspect at the next meeting we'll have our final budget wrapped up to present for council. Transportation meeting I was at, and I think that was it.
you were at the special meeting, weren't you? I just have to,
Yeah, maybe that's what it.
yeah.
On the 31st, or yeah, you bet.
Okay,
He's
thank
more
you.
advanced than me, so
Blosha.
I attended the transportation meeting last week and
Special meeting.
taking some calls, and I only have a couple of washouts, and I got a few other calls that I directed to the proper counselors. But I don't mind taking them at all, everybody. If you need help, you phone
Well,
whoever
that's
and
you
we'll get
phone
you the right
whoever,
help.
that's-
No, yeah.
I don't mind
You
taking any
direct them
calls.
to where they go.
Yeah, and I wanna say that the couple washouts we had, that our grader operators fixed them up in a timely fashion. And that is much appreciated.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Foster.
Yeah, no, I had a special meeting and transportation and set up some pylons on roads that were running over, and no, the graders have been good. And we've opened up a lot of pipes there that saved us too there. And no, there was water running over in some places, but it's not too bad. And that there, that's about it. We're lucky the water slowed down, I think, that.
That's Tyler.
Okay,
I'm
thank
safe
you.
now.
I attended a special meeting, trans meeting, planning district meeting, a fire meeting, and
Yeah.
dealt with many ratepayer requests.
I forgot about that one.
Do that all in the same one.
No, that was a different one. That was the town's one.
Oh, right.
The Reeve I went to, from James.
He's drawing a blank.
I mean, it wasn't because he was sitting beside me, but I forgot about it.
Mr. Webb?
Special meeting and transportation meeting.
Okay, we ready to roll on here?
Yes. I'll put that down for us. Took me a while.
Okay, be it resolved that we do hereby accept the following verbal reports regarding council committees and communications. Councillor Kushniryk, special meeting, transportation meeting, and library meeting. Councillor Blosha, transportation meeting, ratepayer calls. Councillor Pierrepont, special meeting, transportation meeting, and ratepayer calls. Councillor Foster, special meeting, transportation meeting, and setting up pylons and dealing with ratepayer calls. As far as myself, a special meeting, transportation meeting, planning district meeting, fire meeting, and ratepayer requests. CAO spent some time at the special meeting and transportation meeting. also dealing with probably
More than
many tens of ratepayer calls.
Well, all I can say about that is that the ratepayers have been very gracious, very helpful, calling in and giving us help, suggestions before it got too bad. It's been great dealing with them. We've tried to do what we could with the contractors and with the employees on the graders, so we can be very thankful for the way the spring has gone.
And with that, I think we need to thank Sean Hagee, who went above and out of his way on Friday night to dig out culverts at a residence that was underwater. He personally took 2 hours to clean that out. That is appreciated.
Yeah. Harnesses in the south, they got their tractor out, pushed some snow back.
Yeah,
And
and
so
I mean, yeah, those
countless-
farmers and that
Yeah.
have done
Oh,
and
yeah.
helped us, that is
It is
very much appreciated.
You can't be everywhere all the time, and when you're able to get that kind of help, it's just super.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's many unspoken ones as well, but
Yeah.
they know who they are, for sure.
Kudos to all of those who came to the rescue.
Yeah, no, very much appreciated.
Okay, do we have a mover for this resolution? Moved by Councillor Blosha, second by Councillor Foster. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, we have come to the point in our agenda where we will be re-entering in camera portion of the meeting, but prior to that, if we still have our people in the gallery tuned in, if you have any comments or questions regarding topics covered by the agenda this evening, we'd invite you to ask the question or make the comment now.
Add Mark Shearer's name to the kudo list because he was really busy cleaning out the ditches along 165 there.
Okay,
And my compliments to the rest of the council for keeping their cool in Mr. Gade's little tirade.
okay, thank you.
Ron here. I would just like to make a comment, however. I know we're not privy as ratepayers to know what goes on in the in-camera sessions, but when conversation comes out of them and trying to explain, I guess, the goings-on and the resolution that was made, and we hear that the individual that made it and other individuals involved in it don't request to go ahead any further, it leaves me as a ratepayer confused at this end. So I don't know what can be done to try to clarify the information that would make me feel better that things are getting done justifiably. And I hope it's not getting done because of vengeance. And that's my comment tonight.
I guess the only point that I could make to answer your question or concern, Ron, is that we are bound by the Municipal Code of Conduct bylaw. And it clearly states that once a complaint is accepted by the intake officer, that it must go to the next stage. Now, the next stage is a mediator, and if either member, either the complainant or the respondent, chooses not to try to go to mediation, then it goes to an investigator. That investigator is chosen by the CAO if the name submitted by the complainant and the respondent do not line up. In other words, we get to ask for 2 investigators, the complainant does, and the respondent gets to ask for 2, and if none of the names are the same, then it automatically falls upon the shoulders of the CAO to choose a different one entirely. And there are a number, there's 6 or 8 different firms and individuals who do the investigation. The investigator as well as the intake officer who first reviews the complaint and judges whether it is a valid complaint or a frivolous complaint. Both of them are individuals from outside of the area, so we have no influence over them, no connection to them. It's out of our hands as a council. And for anyone else to argue otherwise is purely not true.
Well, in this case, the union also.
Yeah, that was my comment, Reeve. Just, you know, these are recorded meetings. It's going to involve a lot of confusion if anybody else views these without explanation of the procedures. Make it clear to us to understand the procedure.
And the procedure is followed. This particular complaint was against employees, as you may have gathered. And so the union had told us that they were going to file a grievance. We suggested that we were already in the process of filing a complaint, explained how it worked to them, and they agreed that they would not then file a grievance if we went through with the complaint. So that's the steps, those are the steps that we're taking. Any other questions? If not, again, thank you for your attendance and for your patience while we were in camera the first time dealing with the code of conduct. We are now going in camera to deal with other issues. However, I see we have our podcaster, Jeremy, with a question.
I would like to ask what the agenda is for the in-camera. What's the topics on the agenda?
Okay, they would be, is the first one under?
First one, personal matters, negotiations, and preliminary discussions.
Okay, so personnel matters and negotiations / preliminary discussions are basically the area of discussion that will occur. And in the event that there's resolution to those discussions, they have to be entertained in a resolution when we come back out of camera. So that will perhaps give you more insight as to part of what was discussed.
Very well.
Yeah. Okay, we'll call a 5-minute recess and then reconvene and go over the cap.
For another 5 minutes?
You can come smoke for 10.
Oh, she's cold out there. She's ugly, you don't wanna smoke it there.
We'll call the meeting back to order. Be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 3 of the Municipal Act, council shall meet as a committee of the whole to close the meeting and continue discussions in camera regarding personnel matters, negotiations, and preliminary discussions. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Pierrepont, second by Councillor Kushniryk. All in favor? That is carried. Okay, next resolution, be it resolved that pursuant to section 152 sub 4 of the Municipal Act, this meeting shall be reopened to the public. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Blosha, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. All in favor? Carried.
Curfew.
Resolved that in accordance with clause 8.5 of bylaw number 0002-15, the council shall extend the curfew by up to 1/2 hour in order to complete discussion regarding in-camera items. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Foster. All in favor? Carried. Which one here now? 1331. Next resolution, be it resolved that Council of Swan Valley West accept a quote for electrical work at the Swan shop from Taylor Electric Limited.
Wait,
Excuses himself.
We have a mover for that. Moved by Councillor Pierrepont, seconded by Councillor Foster. All in favor? Okay, that's 4 in favor. Please note, Councillor Kushniryk has left the room.
I'll call him back.
Okay. That is carried.
Tyler, come in.
Okay, 13.5. Be it resolved that Council of Swan Valley West approve the initial purchase of turnout gear, SCBA's, and Jaws of Life for a budgeted amount of $80,000. A mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Pierrepont. Any discussion? Not all in favor? That is carried. Notice of motions. Anything further from anyone? Not. Be it resolved that this meeting shall now adjourn at 11:21 p.m. Be it further resolved, next meeting is Tuesday, April 26, 2022 at 7 p.m. Mover, please. Moved by Councillor Kushniryk, seconded by Councillor Foster. All in favor?